right. Well, first of all, nice to meet you today.
Nice to
Um,
meet you.
how are you doing today?
Oh, quite well, quite well. I'm talking to you. That's great. Also, I just received our new album. Here's the CD, and the vinyl is just down here by my knees. So all in all, it's a rainy but a great day.
Well, it's a bit of a redundant question, I guess, but I'm guessing you're pretty excited about your second album coming out pretty soon.
For sure. Yeah, yeah. The hard follow up, the difficult number two. And yeah, of course, I'm very excited to see and hear what people think about it. We love it, obviously. Otherwise, we wouldn't have put it out. But yeah, it's going to be a great day and a heavy burden loaded off our shoulders when it's once it's released because it's hard work and it's nerve wracking at the same uh, time as it's great and you're looking forward. So yeah, a lot of mixed feelings, but all in all, very good.
Yeah, I guess it's something that every musician or every band goes through, and whenever there's a next album coming.
Yes, always. There's always a bit of anxiety.
Yeah, well, kind of quite fitting with the name of the band and the album.
Sure, yeah.
um, that there's a certain degree of anxiety. um,
Sure.
like you were saying that you're like looking forward to see the reactions of people on the whole album, but you already released like a couple of singles.
Three
How
actually, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
how were the reactions on those so far, kind of?
Uh, Overwhelmingly good. Um, One of the singles featured a rap artist didn't go that didn't sit quite well with all metal fans, but it was fun to do something different, and luckily a lot of people thought it was great and was an exciting feature. But other people they thought it was weird, but you know. Uh, Boundaries are meant to be broken, so that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, I read in your in kind of like the press release that goes with your album and such that like that you're basically coming from the idea of like there's no comfort zone, and the only taboos that they are that there are those to break,
Yeah,
which with using a rapper in a kind of more black metal oriented song, you accomplished that very well, I'd say.
it's kind of a cardinal sin of sorts. It's one of the things you don't do in at least in black metal, but we did it anyway.
Yeah.
But because yes, no comfort zone, and yeah, we like to challenge both ourselves, but of course also the listeners. So sometimes you have to take chances, and I think we did quite well with that song. So yeah, I'm proud.
Yeah, I personally like loved you guys for doing that because in my opinion, black metal is too stuck on their like conventions and rules and such. So I loved seeing
Yes,
like that happen.
yeah, and
I also
true. And those conventions. Black metal might be one of the you know they're set very hard in their conventions and convictions, and that's very funny and paradoxal in our minds because it used to be this genre that was there to break boundaries, was there to break conventions and convictions and go against the ruling Christian church at that point. And then all of a sudden, they down the road, they kind of forgot what it was all about, in our opinion. So that's what we're kind of picking up again. going against convictions and conventions, and
Yeah. Yeah, it often
do
feels
something
like
different.
in yeah, it often feels like in their kind of rebelliousness being against like certain conventions that they got really stuck in setting the rules in how you're supposed to be against those conventions
Yeah,
and basically rolled into the into the thing that they were against,
yeah,
which
exactly.
is very
But
funny.
that's pretty ironic. Yeah,
I also love how you actually I saw you at least in one of the kind of bigger black metal Facebook groups like sharing that single and like here's something different for you.
exactly. Yeah, but
I love
uh, again, some will love it, some will hate it, and that's fine. That's how you kind of push the envelope and push the boundaries a little bit.
yeah, for sure. What I also find very kind of sort of refreshing and different with like a um more black metal oriented band like you guys is that like the overarching theme sort of the band is a lot about mental health and such, which in the black metal scene is usually quite much a taboo as well.
Yep, yep. Yeah, you can't show weakness in black metal, I
Mhm.
guess. But times are changing, as some smart guys once saying. Uh, and, uh, and it's I think it's time to show some vulnerability instead of this invincibility that black metal has portrayed for so long, and it's kind of become like a caricature on itself. You know, hate for the sake of hate, not because you're like politically against something. Something that really like the old Norwegian black metal bands. I remember Necrobutcher talking about how they on the chair in the parliament was politicians were talking about how they got a calling from God. I can really see why you want to rebel against something like that. And then, of course, the opposite of Christianity or the opposite of God is Satan. So of course you pick that imagery, and it's powerful. But at some point down the road, Satan became less, I guess, less frightening. And then at some point, they turned into like hating people instead of hating ideologies and religions and stuff like that. They started hating people, and it turned into like national socialist black metal. And what the fuck is that about? In our minds, it was never about hating people or against people as such. It was against ideas. And that was what our debut album was about. It was kind of the new Satanism, going against the way the modern thought, the way the modern thinking, how we are taught how to think about and understand the world. That was what we were trying to, be the antithesis to. Um, so yeah, we see ourselves as the new Satan.
Yeah, and like for this album, it's like somewhat more specific on like the overall kind of pressure that humanity gets on like from society of like having to perform and stuff like that.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I read that basically the album was kind of like written under a similar pressure as well.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. It was kind of conceived within a stressed mind and anxious mind. Uh, it kind of the music took form under lockdown. So there were, nothing much was going on. The societal pace was very slow, and there was time to like sit down and think and be creative, and so that was a very cathartic or very therapeutic, experience to create the music. But then all of a sudden, from one day to the next. society in Denmark. It opened, I think it was on January 20th or something like that. All of a sudden, we had drums recorded, we had bass recorded, we had guitars recorded, and then boom, society opened, and it was from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, and then anxiety and stress and all that just kicked in. So the whole, recording of vocals, writing lyrics, coming up with the funny little details that makes a record interesting. It was such a hard process. It came up to like 3-4 months, I guess. It was very, very. It was a struggle. It was a stressful and anxiety-full, anxious time and struggle. So yeah, it was. We learned a lot in that period. We learned a lot about society. We learned a lot about ourselves. We learned a lot about our process. But without all that stress and anxiety, this record wouldn't have become what it became. So we try to turn that negative struggle into a positive operating kind of principle for the record.
Yeah, for sure. And well, it feels like it really really worked out. I've listened to the album a couple of times now, and I've really enjoyed it so far.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Thank you.
Now I was wondering, like the album cover, like the artwork has like what looks like a kind of fantastical, like mythical creature on there. I don't know if there's like a certain like story or something about behind that.
We just wanted to do something simple, like on the cover of the debut album, and we thought about doing this a little bit, let's be honest, a little bit pathetic, very thought through album cover with somebody drowning and whatnot. It could have been great, but it was a little too much. So one point one of us, I can't remember who, scrolled through, I think it was Instagram, and then an artist we know, Nikolai, or Nmar, as his artist name is, he had this posted on his Instagram, and we thought, well, that's it. That this is the perfect image, for us at least, the perfect image of what anxiety, a mental problem could look like. Kind of like this nasty looking creature with a dick, or without a dick. Who knows? Is it a dick? It's not a dick. I don't know. Nobody knows. So it's it just popped up kind of, and to us it was the perfect image for what we wanted to say with the music.
Yeah, I feel it both at the same time, like sort of portrays like the anxiety, but also gives you that like hint that this is sort of like the sound to expect is sort of like a Nordic sound.
For sure.
Because the creature is really obviously like, it immediately brings up like Nordic culture to me, at least.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I never thought about that, but that's probably true. But it is true because you think so.
On your debut album, but also on this album, you had quite a lot of guests featuring in songs. Like we already mentioned the rapper on one song. Is that something that you would just love to continue? And if so, like if there's someone that you would like love to work with in like the future?
Oh, we would love to work. Okay, first things first. The principle behind these guest appearances is that they're all friends of ours, and it has to be a friend, someone we know personally and have a connection and a relation to. before we ask them. So we write music with, you know, sections for solos and stuff like that. And we can't play a solo if our lives depended on it. So we need good friends to do that for us. And luckily we have these friends. So yes, we would love to get as many friends as we as possible to be guests and do guest appearances on our songs. However, you know, at some point, I don't know, it might get old and people will start, you know, say, what the hell? Can't they come up with anything, you know, cleverer than that? But yeah, let's see what the future brings. But who, one specifically, we would love to work with? I don't know, Jeff Loomis maybe from Arch Enemy, Dirk from Megadeth, maybe. Yeah, yeah, somebody.
Those are solid choices. And also in a way also feels like some of the guests that you're bringing in is again that kind of making the music more like interesting and challenging for you and for for the listeners and stuff.
Oh yes, oh yes. These guys, they are so talented.
Mhm.
They just bring our creation to a new level, and that's the moment when it becomes, you know, our collaborative creation, and there's a oh, it's a magical moment every time we, you know, they send us these solos and we get them mixed down on the track, and it's just like, whoa, this is freaking amazing. Yeah, they're so freaking talented. It's unbelievable, and as you say, they really they really contribute with something, you know, something uniquely them, but also something that takes this one song to a unique place and gives it, you know, a new flavor. Oh yeah, it's pure
Yeah,
magic.
yeah, for sure. Like the song that that Niels plays on, like
Mm-hmm.
when his guitar work kicks in, it's like way out of like your normal sound, but it
Mm-hmm.
still perfectly fits within the song. But it's like yeah,
Yeah,
it creates a whole nother dimension in it and stuff. It's really cool.
yeah, for sure. That solo is, yeah, mind blowing. You know, and,
Yeah.
and again, they're so talented. They actually hear the song, but they, you know, stay true to themselves at the same time. It's, yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know how they do it, but they are amazing.
Yeah. Now, you're now this year also finally taking your music basically on the road. I know last year you played a show at Copenhagen.
Yeah,
Well,
one
first of
show. Yeah.
all, how was it to like finally get to play that live?
Oh, you know, that was the most beautiful assembly you could ever imagine. You know,
Hmm.
it was our debut on the live stage, and my bet is there were like 8,000 to 10,000 people there. It was like a sea of people, and it was just, yeah, again, pure magic. It it was the best possible debut one could have. So yeah, of course we feel like doing this more, also on
Hmm.
smaller stages. So yeah, we are playing our second show is going to be abroad. It's going to be in Helsinki in Finland, and then
Yep.
on Tuesday we have a pretty cool announcement. I don't know when this is coming out, but check our calendar. It's a cool announcement, uh, and hopefully we're gonna, you know, do more and more tours. Maybe not this year, but then next year. And you know, first of all, we want to go around Europe, and then hopefully we can
Yeah.
go further and further abroad. Um, yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
gonna do a road show.
Yeah. And then well, that first show that's coming up now this year at Horizon Festival in Helsinki.
Yeah,
It's like a very nice place for you guys to sit at, I think, because it's a very diverse like lineup, and
Oh yes,
I really
that is
like
perfect.
how, yeah, I really like where like last year they already had a sort of an edition. They kind of renamed themselves now a little bit, but last year they
Hmm.
already had an edition, and their concept is basically to widen the horizons of metal
Yeah,
fans, which I love.
perfect. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to be. You know. Yeah, some lineups they it's always about the safe choices,
Hmm.
and that gets pretty boring pretty fast. So yeah, festivals and venues who are willing to take chances. Yeah, obviously we love those guys.
Yeah, I think like last year they mixed like some of the most extreme metal they could with some very like proggy metal, and they put it all the same lineup, same day. Like just try things.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah. Well, hope to see you there. I'm
Yeah.
planning to try to go.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. Hope so too.
um, and yeah, I saw on the like the Copenhagen show that you've decided to have your life set up to be just the two of you guys. I'm guessing that is you're sticking to that, or
Actually, at Copenhagen, we had a lead guitar player who came in
okay.
and out, on and off stage, to do solos.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, again, do something different, push the envelope. But people were like, what the hell is going on? But for us, yeah, the right thing to do. Um, but the live setting is going to be somewhat similar. It's going to be the two of us, and then I think we're gonna stick with a lead guitar player. How exactly it's gonna be, I don't know, but it's gonna be somewhat in that ballpark.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll have to go to one of your shows to see properly.
Also,
um,
our live show is like a pragmatic thing.
mhm.
It kind of depends on we have different versions depending on how much you want to pay. Because if you can pay a lot, you get the full show. But if you pay a little less, you get a good show, but you don't get the fireworks and all that.
Yeah, well, makes sense.
Yeah.
I think we're about there. Is there like anything you would like to add still, like to wrap this up?
Now, just thank you for this interview, and I wish you well, and I wish your viewers and readers and yeah, wish them well and want them to stay safe and stay sane. You know, that's it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, thanks for the talk, for the time.
You too.
Lots of luck with your album release, and well, like I
Thank you very
said,
much.
hope to see you live soon.
Yeah, me too. Me too. We're working on it. We're working hard on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
very
Have a
good.
good evening there still.
You too. You too. Take care.